Hello everybody. I know I haven't made a lot of videos recently, but that's because I've actually been working on my own modded class. That's right, I am actually modding something. Now, for anyone who has thought, hey, I want to make something, but I have no idea how to code, it's actually quite simple. I have coded jack shit in my whole life, and I found this rather easy. The Moonlit Dungeon Discord, which I'll leave a link to in the comments, has a wonderful, helpful coding guide channel. Just for you just ask a question and then talented modders will, answer it for you and help you out. It's really quite simple. Just kind of copy shit from base game heroes, like I've done, and then other modded heroes, and then you'll find your way there. Art? Yeah, good luck with that. You're gonna have to be an artist, or you're gonna have to have a lot of money. Neither of which I have, so we'll see how that goes. But don't be worried if you're scared of coding. It's really not that bad. Go make your own class. Now, the idea I've thought of is the Blackfeather. If anybody has played Dungeons and Dragons, you will know this class as the Kenku race, which is one of my favorite classes in D&D. I've made a few Kenkus. Now, the Blackfeather, their gimmick is that they are best played together. You have your 4-party lineup, and the way I'm trying to make the Blackfeather is that you're supposed to have 4 of them, all 4 Blackfeathers, and then the skills on them are supposed to be balanced in a way that they each have different skills, and they coerce together to buff themselves. Like the healing skill gives a buff to that particular healing skill, which doesn't do shit for a Vestal. But if you have another Blackfeather, that other Blackfeather is now better at healing. So when you have fucking 4 of them, you can get the point here. So I'm just gonna do this isn't a fucking class review because it's not even on testing phase yet. It will be soon, which is why I'm making this. But I'm just gonna go over some of the skills. Now, so we're gonna look at it. Really low HP. Jester, which I have the animations for, has 35 HP. This has 34. Dodge, 35, same as Jester. It's the highest in the base game. 8 speed is high, but not like ridiculously high. And speed is necessary because these guys, the way they play is they use their attacks to buff their damage, and then they beat the shit out of people. Their healing is quite weak. Their stress heal is quite weak, at least in the beginning. So they have to kill stuff before they start dying because they don't have much HP. So the high speed's quite useful. 8 crit is pretty good. 6 to 12 base damage is this is 1 point higher than the Flagellant. Like I said, I haven't tested this much, but I want them to be low base damage that ramps up really higher. Because if I had like 7 to 14 and then you buff 30%, that's like quite good. And if you do that twice, that's 60%. That's really, really good. And I don't want it to be fucking overpowered. So I'm going with low base damage. And now we have 20 stun resist, which is pretty fucking bad. 40 blight, which is about above average. I'm just kind of trying to remember from my other class guides. 30 bleed is average. 20 move is bad, but it doesn't actually matter for this guy because he can do a lot of his abilities from anywhere. 30 trap is like the 90%er. You're almost right there. It was 100% at one point. I might change it back. I don't know. Debuff is 50, which is ridiculously fucking high. It's only being out by the occultist, I believe. And then 40 disease is also high. These guys are supposed to be kind of like low-lifes that like live in alleyways. They're outcasts of society, kind of like the Kenkus from Dungeons and Dragons. So that's where I got the disease resistor from. Might be lowered. Now, starting with the skills, we have Mob. Mob is the melee attack. It's the only melee attack. And it has a decent enough accuracy, lower damage, and it's already low base damage. And it has armor piercing though to make up for that, and hits the first 3 rows, can be used in the front too. Now, the interesting part about Mob is it debuffs the targets that take more damage from Victimize. And Victimize is the big damage ability. You get a plus damage mod, you get a much higher crit mod, and you can hit rows 2, 3, 4 from friendly rows 2, 3, 4. So you could have one guy have Mob and Victimize. But otherwise, you're going to have one guy with Mob, probably 3 guys with Victimize, maybe 2. Thing is, the best way to get your damage out of Victimize is to use Mob. And vice versa, the best way to get your damage out of mob is to actually use Victimize. So they play off each other, which is the point. This does scale at lower levels, it is less damage. I might have to change that because your base damage at level 1 is 3 to 6, and it's pretty shit if you're only getting like a plus 6% increase. So we'll see how that goes. So these go hand in hand. And then, sorry, fan issues. Third skill is Camaraderie, which is a guard. I'm trying to get a trinket to have it give you a riposte, but I'm not really good at coding, like I said, so I'm having a little trouble with that. Now, with most guards, like the Man-at-Arms gives you prot, and the Houndmaster gives you dodge. This gives you neither, it gives you healing received, and by you I mean the whole party. Same thing with these other buffs, by the way. Like, these are debuffs, and since when you have 4 people, everybody has mob or victimize, then they all receive the bonus, which is going with the synergy of the 4-man. Now, the point of this is supposed to be a guard in case somebody gets on low HP, but it's not. You're not supposed to be like a tank. These guys aren't tanks. They're kind of just like there for each other. Guard's pretty simple. And now the last 4 abilities are mimicry abilities, and that's kind of just flavor. Now the Kenku in Dungeons and Dragons, their thing is they cannot speak normally, but they are perfect mimics, and they can perfectly replicate any sound that they have heard. So that's what I've taken in here. Writing barks was a fucking bitch, because I had to think of like fucking sound effects for a lot of things. I did kind of cop out, if you want to call it that, and I made a lot of the barks like Reynolds. Like I would just like copy, like he heard Reynolds speak, so now you get like a Reynolds bark. Call me lazy. I don't know. Maybe I'll change it. But the last of these are supposed to be sounds. Ataraxy is like bliss kind of, so it's a party heal, and then all the heroes get a buff for 50% healing skills with Ataraxy, and 33% stress healing done with Ataraxy. So like I said, this only buffs Blackfeathers, which encourages you to take more Blackfeathers. Now it heals the whole party for 3 at max level, stress heals the other people for 5, and clears horror 80% chance on the other people. So what this also does is it means you can't have this one Blackfeather unless you have like another stress healer, but at which point why would you want to, like, it's kind of encouraging you to have more Blackfeathers, because when this guy can't stress heal himself, so you need another Blackfeather to stress heal that guy. You know what I mean? And now we have Terrorize. Terrorize, I don't know, it's like you're supposed to mimic like the fucking A-bombs going wild or whatever, you know, or something else that's scary. Has lower crit mod, lower base damage, although not nothing. It self-marks because, you know, it's like, oh my god, I'm scared of that thing, and that's why you're marked. And it debuffs the target for minus speed and minus accuracy. And it buffs the party for plus accuracy. Now this is good for Blackfeathers, but this is also good for other people. So if you're not bringing the 4-man Blackfeather squad, you can still bring some utility to your team. Because I don't want to bring it, there's no point, like, we're not playing Blackfeather Simulator here. This is fucking regular Darkest Dungeon. So you need to be able to do with more than one combo. So that's why I have the regular buffs here. And then we have Entrap. This is like the Kenku, or sorry, the Blackfeather makes a mimic of like your fucking mom. Like, honey, I'm home. And then you're like, oh my god, mom, wow, I love you. So you, it's supposed to bypass guard, it's supposed to break guard. I need to add that. Pulls 1 forward. Notably, mob can only hit first 3. Victimize can hit all 3 except for row 1. But so if you have a row 4 guy and you pull him forward, that means they're basically always going to be in mob range. So you can beat the shit out of them with everybody. Then you debuff them for minus prot. You give them more crits received, and you buff the whole party for plus damage and plus crit. Now that plus damage and plus crit is very nice for non-Blackfeathers because they have regular damage and not shitty nerfed damage. But for Blackfeathers, this is basically the move you do before you fucking beat somebody. Like, you do this and then you mob them and you victimize them, as the names would imply. And finally we have Mimicry Deafen. Deafen, unlike these two, can't be used in any position. Notably, these can hit any position, so that's why move resist doesn't matter, because you can kind of do whatever you want from wherever you want. I did this to kind of encourage not having 4 deafens. Deafen does more damage, does a little bit less damage than mob. I might nerf that though. Thinking like it's like a sound burst, like a fucking, like if an elephant blares in your ear, you're gonna, your ears are gonna bleed and you're gonna take damage. It's a stun, and it's a minus speed. Minus speed is notable for these guys because the way they have to beat the shit out of stuff before they die. So minusing speed means they go first, means it's easier to just beat the shit out of those targets. So in a stun, so you notice this guy kind of has everything. He has damage, he has heal, he has stress heal, and he has stun. The stun is strong. I'm not going to make a weak stun. But the other stuff is kind of weak. But a way to make it not weak is to have more Blackfeathers, which is the, I don't want to say gimmick, but the cohesion that I'm trying to build towards. Taking a look at his camping skills, there's no encourage. There's wound care and pep talk. I think wound care is good because your healing is pretty bad. It's 3. Even if you buff that to 100%, you're at 6. And divine comfort does 5, and at that point you're at 3 heals to get 1 divine comfort. So wound care is quite okay. Pep talk is quite okay. Heard before consolation. This is supposed to be like these guys can only mimic. So at some point you've heard all the encouragement they've given you. So it does a lot, stress heal, but to offset that, it has a chance of failing. Or if you want to look at it a different way, it has a chance of failing, but to offset that, it has higher stress heal than encourage. You have 2 uses in case you fail and you really need this stress heal. I'm sorry if you fail it twice. Next, we have prepare mimicry. This is like you're testing out what to do and see, like, finding out what phrases will sound right. So you get your plus debuff chance and your plus stun chance, which basically buffs your 3 mimicries abilities. Doesn't buff Ataraxy because it's a fucking friendly skill. And it minuses chance the party's surprised. Alright, made that wrong. It's supposed to be minus chance the enemies are surprised. My bad. Enemies surprised. I'm in testing. That's because they can hear you coming. Next, we have a nest for the night. Birds. This guy's supposed to be birds. Kenku, you would know that if you play D&D. They give you plus blight, bleed resist, and you heal. This is for when you don't really have good healing and you've got the shit kicked out of you by like Swineskeevers and Viragos or whatever. So you do this to heal up the whole party and then you not get dot ticked. This is like your kind of save yourself. Then we have flock tactics, which is for more monster surprise. Monster surprise is actually really useful for them because, like I said before, they have to beat the shit out of stuff really quickly. So getting all 4 actions at once is really nice. Buffing speed helps with that too. And then amalgamation of techniques is more dodge and minus crits received. It's kind of just like you've heard this stuff before from like the Man-at-Arms or whatever, and now it's just, you just say it to yourself. Want to take a quick look at some of the trinkets? Shit art, just give me time, you know? We have the beautiful mask. Let's pull up the Blackfeather page. Beautiful mask makes entrap, do more debuff chance. You get more healing skills, more stress healing done. Makes terrorize not work as much, and you take less stress. This is supposed to be the sunward trinket. It's pretty self-explanatory. It makes you not use terrorize and make you use entrap more. Yeah, it's kind of easy. This is just a head. I don't know what to do with the head yet, but I want to do a collector head because I like heads. Alright. Cause from an old nest. This is plus heals and stress done while camping, and you get minus stress received. This is for when you don't really rely on your healing as much, and you want to use a nest for the night, the camping skill. You take this along. Now, it doesn't give you much. It doesn't give you anything outside of that, so I've done a minus stress on it. Probably going to change this, because this doesn't seem that useful, but maybe it is. The discarded main gauche. This is supposed to give Camaraderie, the guard, a riposte. It gives you damage reflection as well. So far, the riposte doesn't really work. I'm working on that, but I'd like to not see this trinket get deleted. And then you get little bleed resist. I could see this being useful. I don't think the guard is the best. I don't think guard's necessary, but you maybe want one guy to have guard. So if you have to go, you might as well just take this, I guess. Glittering bauble. This is just an uncommon trinket. More crit, minus stress received. Paid for in blood. You have Gossamer False Wings. The lore of the Kenku and Dungeons and Dragons is that they lost their wings like millennia ago or whatever for being greedy cunts. And so they always want to fly, but they can't. So False Wings is my way of expressing that. So this is supposed to be the Color of Madness trinket. You get 2 speed, 20 dodge. Definitely going to need to be more than 10% stress received. That's a very strong trinket. The Rusted Bugle. This is essentially Prepared Mimicry again. I'm not sure what I like it on more. If I like it as a trinket or as a camping skill. Maybe both? I don't know. You get stun chance, debuff chance. You do get minus stun resist on this, notably. And the monster surprise is actually right. Scoped hand crossbow. My Kenku in my campaign says use a hand crossbow, so I brought that in. Victimize gets more crit and more accuracy, the cost of less dodge. This seems pretty good. Victimize is your better damaging ability anyway, so having more accuracy, you always want to have accuracy, and crit is nice too, especially on a high crit. You have 8 at level 5. Let's just get this. Yeah, you have plus 11, and then you have 8% crit, so you're already at 19. So this takes you up to 25% crit, which is quite nice. We have the Stolen Lawman's map. The Blackfeather as a piece of shit thug does not go with the Houndmaster, as I want to do it. I can't think of any other lawman type heroes, so I'm going with no Houndmaster for now. So you get plus scouting chance, better surprise, you get a lot of stress received. This is one of the Crimson Court trinkets. I don't, where the fuck is the other one? Do I? God, I don't even remember what the other one is. Terrifying Mask is kind of the opposite of Beautiful Mask. I think the other one is actually Rusted Bugle for Crimson Court. Anyway, Terrifying Mask makes Terrorize do a lot more, makes Entrap do a lot less. You do less stress healing, you get more stress received, but Terrorize does base damage. You see it in the tooltip there. So it does your 6 to 12, essentially, which means you have good damage of, you can be in row 3 or 4 and actually hit row 1 with good damage. You have Entrap, which does nothing, and you have Deafen, which doesn't do much, but you can't be in row 4 anyway. This is how you get good row 4 damage. You could maybe not take Victimize. I would say maybe not. But I think this is very interesting. It promotes more dynamic gameplay, makes you want to take Terrorize, which again, Terrorize is one of the good skills for when you don't run the 4-man squad. And then we have Wooden False Wings. This is another uncommon trinket. Gives you more prot, more move resist, minus speed. This is the move resist is really good for when you don't have 4 Blackfeathers, because that's when your comp matters more. Prot's nice. This is probably gonna get changed because it's like, I personally wouldn't use this like ever, so I don't want to make someone else be like, man, this is kind of shit. Like, I don't want to deal with that. What are some other trinkets I can think of? There's the beak cover, which is supposed to give you plus damage in row 1, and I think it's supposed to have like a bleed onto row 1, onto your melee hits, if I remember correctly. Yes, plus bleed melee, crit melee, damage in position 1, and minus debuff chance. I haven't found that in my game yet. So I hope you take a look. If you want to come into the Moonlit Discord server, I will be starting a testing channel hopefully soon where you can play test this mod. It won't go on the Steam for a very long time because I am a broke motherfucker and don't have any money to pay for art. Like you can see, I'm using base game icons. But it'll probably just be playable as it is now, just you'll have to play as a jester. I hope that's okay with you guys. I'll be coming out with more videos soon now that I'm out of coding time, and I'll see y'all around, hopefully on Discord.